Hey, what's up, Steam? It's Jacob Cards, chilling in my barn. Today I want to talk about, more philosophy. Basically, the idea of constant work and rest, work and rest. You know, like people talk about the chakras and basically the wheel energy, like the energy of the body works in a wheel, from the mind to the feet. And it's like constant motion of work and rest. And this works with the mind too. Like the sixth chakra is your third eye, right? It is how you perceive the world and how you perceive life, really, you know? And when you look into it, you know, um, the wheel of constant working and resting, in the sense that when you're working your mind, you are resting your body, and when you're resting your body, you're working your mind. And that is why we have 6 days of work and 1 day of rest, It is because we must rest, we must work our mind and worship God in order to give strength and rest towards the body. So, if the body has rest, right? Like we rest 1 day a week, you sleep. When you rest, the constant motion of work and rest, that is what helps the mind. So, for example, if your mind is clogged at work, say you sit around all day, this is an example, right? And you can't seem to solve a problem, try going outside in your garden and working in a garden, or try and do laundry or labor or something around the house, cook your food, you know what I mean? Do something physically, and by exercising your body, you'll be resting your mind, you see? Because the mind cannot rest and find clarity in the sense of spirituality and grasp towards a greater God. Because once you live with God, in every moment, in every second of time, that is when you're truly holy. But it is when we just live with ourselves and we say that we are God, or we are great, we are the greatest, not recognizing that God is always greater than you, but He's always with you. You know, like he speaks to our hearts through our minds. Okay. Our hearts are our souls, and our mind is how we perceive God, in the sense that God gives His image towards our mind. And by doing so, we know what is right and what is wrong. We know there's a heaven and there's a hell, there's division, okay? Because you have to think of, because that's what Jesus said. He said, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. And the two-edged sword is actually the division down the middle between the sheep and the goats, the right and the left, heaven and hell. Because we have to say, because the thing is that people do go to hell and people do go to heaven. Not everyone goes to heaven and not everyone goes to hell. It's that division. But what people don't recognize is that sin draws us towards that is wicked. They ignore the commandments, they ignore things, and they don't realize, God forgives us when we don't sin against man. But if we sin against holiness and things that are holy, we don't feel guilt. If we don't feel guilt for our sins, then they are unforgiven. Because you cannot be granted forgiveness unless you ask for forgiveness. And you will not ask for forgiveness if you don't think what you did is wrong. So you will not feel guilty. And it actually makes a lot of sense. And that's why you always have to be asking God for forgiveness and things like that. Because, it is good. It's just good to ask God for forgiveness. And with your heart, too, not just with your lips. Because, those who do not, live with their lips with Christ, but do not live with their heart, you know what I mean? You'll not be, accepted into heaven. Because heaven and hell is not a joke. It's not some people make it, everyone makes it, yeah, God is merciful. God is merciful. But He would not be merciful to those that deserve it if He let everyone into heaven. So it's a division, and that is what keeps us, and that's what takes sin out of the world, is the idea of a just judger who is God, that no man can lay judgment on another. So no man can take a life necessarily in the name of God, obviously, but at the same time, people say that there was war in the Bible and things like that, but that was a time where people were literally sacrificing children, and they were in extreme evil. So. It's interesting. Interesting times will come. You know, when the Messiah does come, you better be practicing or working because, you know, that is what they say. That is what it said in the text. It's like when someone comes upon you, you better be working. You better be worshiping God. Peace.